Welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You, a daily podcast that shines a light on the American justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And welcome to Who Wrote That Up For You. I am Sonia Ebron, a co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I am Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
Wonderful show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we will speak with Jessica Bednarz at the Justice Entrepreneurs Project. It is a project of the Chicago Bar Foundation focused on delivering access to justice to the residents of the Chicago area. So excited to chat with her about what's happening at JEP there. Before we get started, though, Deborah, what's on your mind today?
Well, in the files of peculiar law things, I want to talk a little bit about some of the peculiar laws, particularly around driving. First, I was at the DMV in Georgia once, and there's this big old sign that says, huge sign that says, no putting your feet on the walls. And I'm like, okay, somebody must have put their feet on the wall more than once. But there are other laws around the country. Like, for example, you can't drive blindfolded in Alabama. It looked like it would be a given, but okay. In other places, I remember in San Francisco when I lived there, it was illegal for someone to feed someone else's meter. It probably still is because the city got money from meters and they didn't want their the people that they had caught getting away with not paying them. Basically, there's in Los Angeles, you can't wash your neighbor's car without permission. It's illegal. It's illegal to drive while your dog is tethered to your car in Alaska. I mean, these are laws that had to be made because people were doing them. Okay. In Arizona, you can't drive a car in reverse on a public road. And you're not supposedly, now I'm not sure this one is followed, you're not allowed to drive a black car on a Sunday in Denver. And then finally, it's illegal to run out of gas in Youngstown, Ohio.
Oh, my.
That one is not that surprising. I mean, actually, so you can look sideways at some of these and like, yeah, but the black car on Sunday is the only one that I don't get. But those are some peculiar laws that had to be made because people were doing them or interfering with someone's money or, that the municipality felt that they had to make these rules.
Folks were not only doing them, but they were causing some kind of chaos that had to be banned. So, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. There are, it takes all kinds. I'll just leave it at that. That's great. That's great. Thank you for sharing those peculiar laws with us. As you all know, at Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, in particular to the people who use them. And we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. So if you are in court without a lawyer, or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Try a limited version of our services for free, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome onto the show Jessica Bednarz is the Executive Director of the Justice Entrepreneurs Project, again, a project of the Chicago Bar Foundation. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us on Who Wrote That Up For You.
Thank you so much for having me. And Deborah, I live in Denver. I'll have to look into that and get back to you.
Don't break the law. Challenge it correctly, okay? Fantastic. That is. Well, tell us, Jessica, if you would, about the Justice Entrepreneurs Project. Who is it designed to serve, and just why does it exist?
Yeah, so the Justice Entrepreneurs Project, as you said, it's a project of the Chicago Bar Foundation. It was launched in 2013, so we're actually turning 10 next year, which is pretty hard to believe. But the reason it was launched, it was following the financial crisis, and what we noticed at the CBF. The CBF traditionally had focused on people not making enough money to afford legal services or who qualified for free legal services, and they noticed that that line extends way higher than we maybe initially had thought, and there weren't a lot of other organizations focusing on helping lawyers help middle income people or anyone over the income eligibility line. And so at the same time, we had a bunch of lawyers who were graduating from law school. They went to law school really wanting to help people, but graduating at a really bad time, and then also not having the business skills they might need in order to then just hang a shingle on their own and just help people right away. And so that's kind of how the program got started. And 10 years in, we're 60 plus lawyers strong, and we think we're having a pretty big impact.
Fantastic, fantastic. And so, if I understand it, you're an incubator of sorts for these law firms who want to learn how to build a sustainable solo practice. How does the incubator work? Is there programming for these lawyers?
Yes, great question. So the program, it's an 18-month program. It's for lawyers who want to start socially conscious and innovative law practices, specifically trying to help the middle market. And what we provide in the incubator program is training, mentoring, space. That doesn't matter as much these days, but we do have a physical office space, and other resources and support, and just a community of like-minded people to bounce ideas off of. And so it's training not only on the business side of law, which is something we still don't get to law school today, but also we partner with a lot of legal aid organizations to help our lawyers gain substantive skills if that's what they need as well.
Fantastic. And so, what are some of the challenges, if you will, of building a solo practice? For non-lawyers, we haven't had the experience of trying to stand up something like that. What is difficult and in need of an incubator like yours?
Yeah, it's the business side, not only the business side, but the business side of law is really the big gap, because in law school, we learn how to find the law. We don't necessarily learn what the law is, but we learn how to find it. We pick up a few other things, but we certainly don't learn how the business side of law, and most of law, depending on your practice setting, you're going to have that part of it. And so we're trying to fill that gap. But also, it's hard to find mentoring relationships these days after you graduate from law school, unless you go to a big law firm. You kind of have to find those on your own. Like maybe you work through a bar association or a program, but people are also really looking for that mentorship. So we're able to provide that not only through our pro bono placements, but through having other lawyers in the program who can offer that support. So that is a gap. And then another challenge that lawyers who want to do well and do get at the same time is just exactly that. Like they come in very social justice minded. They want to help people. But at the end of the day, if you're a business owner, you do have to make some money to cover your costs and to support yourself. So there's always, I think, that internal struggle going on with a lot of our attorneys, which I can understand.
It's interesting to me that you call it the Justice Entrepreneurs Program. Obviously, that's exciting, a different way of looking at a law practice there.
Yeah.
What is there entrepreneurial training in any formal sense, or the building a startup kind of mentality as a part of the programming or communications with your lawyers?
Yeah, I would say so. We kick off, we have a boot camp, kind of a 9 to 5 boot camp to kick off the program, and we do talk a lot about mindset and how to innovate and how to adapt and some of those concepts that come along with all of that. So we certainly do that. And then the way, kind of the core principles of the program and the way we try to get a lot of our attorneys to innovate, and certainly they can expand beyond this, but a core principle of our program is to offer set fee pricing. So you can't bill by the hour. So that in and of itself is pretty innovative within the legal industry, although obviously not in every other industry. But that's something we're trying to help people do, offering unbundled or customized services as opposed to just like it's all or nothing. That's something we're trying to help our attorneys do. And we talk a lot about tech. We have a lot of trainings on tech, what you can do with it, not only on the back end, but on the front end to communicate with clients and things like that. So That's what I would say about that.
That is excellent. And I just wanted to remind our audience or share with our audience that JEP has sent some lawyers to Courtroom 5 to help support some of our customers. So thank you for that relationship. And we want you to do much more of that. Fixed fee pricing is so important these days. The consumer, as I think you know, doesn't understand or can't place a value on the billable hour
Yes.
in the way they can a fixed fee for a specific service. Can you just share more of your thinking about why you require the law firms you assist to do fixed fee pricing?
Yeah, definitely. Because the average person's on a budget. They only have so much money to spend on anything, really, but especially on legal services. So they need to know at the front end how much the services are going to cost. And that uncertainty, and there's research to show that there's at least a slice of the community that can actually afford to pay something for legal services, but they forego it because they don't know how much it's actually going to cost. So if you can provide that information up front, and maybe even better, like in some form on a website where it's easy to find, that in and of itself could start providing some access right there. So
exactly. Fantastic. And so lawyers wouldn't provide like a fixed fee for a case, or would they? Or is it more often fixed fee for a specific narrow service?
Yeah, I think it depends. So certainly for narrow services, definitely, because that's pretty easy to identify those variables and offer that fixed fee. Mm-hmm. A lot of our family law attorneys, I've seen this go two different ways, and I think it kind of depends on your jurisdiction and how long it takes a case to resolve. So, for example, in Cook County, which is where Chicago is, if you're going to litigate a divorce case, it takes an average of 18 to 24 months to make it all the way through the process, which is very long. And a lot of things can come up between now and then. So like what our attorneys here have done is offered a subscription fee. So they usually offer a flat fee to get the case started to a certain point, maybe to filing. And then they'll do a monthly fee until the case is resolved. So it's not 100% certainty, but it is more certainty than the billable hour. And it does allow someone to budget it if they're on a monthly budget. But, in cases or in situations like here in Colorado, which is where I live, I've been told the average litigated case here is like 6 months, which is a huge difference. And so I know several family law practitioners here who will offer a flat fee for the entire case. So I think it just depends. But if you are in a jurisdiction or you have a case that there is some uncertainty or some variables out there, you don't know them quite yet, you could always start with a flat fee for the first phase of the case and then, kind of go from there.
Got it. Fantastic. So there are a number of innovative business models that I'm understanding that lawyers are experimenting with. There's fixed fee. There's unbundling. I'd love for you to share more about what that means with our audience. Subscription services as well, and just how that generally works. And what's the mix amongst the 60 lawyers in your program or organization? Does everybody do fixed fee? Does everybody do subscription? Or is there a mix and match there?
It's kind of a mix and match. So everyone does some form of it. And I'm trying to remember all your different questions. So it's kind of it almost kind of goes by practice area because it depends on how the services are delivered. So by and large, our family law crew, which is probably our biggest group in the JDP, I would say definitely most, but maybe even all do that hybrid fixed fee with a subscription service, a monthly fee. So for example, maybe it's like $1,000 up front and then $400 a month until the case ends. And what those upfront amounts and especially the monthly amounts, it depends on the complexity of the case. So if you have a simple case, it's going to be less. If you have a pretty complex case, it's probably going to be a little bit more because it's going to take more effort to resolve the matter. So that's like the family law area. Consumer debt, it's fee shifting for some cases, depending on the issue. So there are some statutes that, especially federal statutes, that'll say for this types of issue, if you win, then the other side will cover your fees. So it just shifts those fees. So there's some carve outs for that. But if it's something just kind of like putting a demand letter together for a creditor, that would be a fixed fee. And then estate planning, I think by and large is fixed fee. Criminal offense, from what I understand, is pretty much fixed fee. So it just kind of depends on the area. And then the unbundled services, which I know Courtroom 5 is a big fan of, which is why you're such a great partner in that respect. So that just means basically traditional legal services is you come into a lawyer and they're either going to handle your entire case or they're not going to work with you at all. And that just leaves a lot of people out who can't afford full representation, but might be able to handle some of the case on their own. So unbundled services, it's just basically anything less than full representation. So it could be maybe you're just going to help someone with a hearing in court, or maybe you're just doing some drafting for them, or maybe you're just reviewing some drafting, or maybe you're doing some coaching in the background, or it could be any combination of these things. But basically, it's how do we provide access to people by giving them options where they do some of the work and you do some of the work, and you as the attorney try to use their limited funds for the most important part of the case, or parts of the case that they don't feel comfortable handling
themselves. Fantastic. Absolutely. And so what's been the public response over the decade of your work? Are you seeing more people? Obviously, you're seeing more people served with some legal services rather than just going without. What's been the impact?
Yes. Oh gosh, I should know these numbers right off the top of my head. We've served a lot of people. I want to say, man, it's been a minute since I've looked at it. We've served a lot of people, and I will say when we survey our attorneys, I don't want to underdo it though. I want to say it was like 6,000 clients across our network for just the year.
Wow.
It's a lot. And when we ask them, we don't ask them to track every single thing, but we just ask them like, what percentage of your clientele do you think fall within our target market? And I think we were at about 65% this last time around, which is pretty good. Yep. We also know that 90% of our attorneys do offer unbundled services, which is really cool. And then, of course, all of them don't bill by the hour, which is nice. So there's that. And then just anecdotally, we hear from our attorneys that their clients really do appreciate having that predictability and the option of having unbundled services. So we know it's working. It's the future of legal. I mean, it's now, but also moving forward.
Extraordinary. That's right. Exactly. What's your vision longer term then for JEP?
I mean, I hope we just continue to bring more lawyers into the program and provide them with the support and stability they need to build not only socially conscious practices, but really sustainable practices that are meeting their personal goals. And so we can just provide, in addition to helping the public, I just think we need more paths for attorneys too, to build healthier practices that meet both their personal and professional goals. So I'm hoping we can just continue to do that through the JEP and just add more attorneys to our network and inspire others to do it too. I mean, there's a whole incubator movement where there are incubators across the country who are trying to do the same thing. So hopefully we just keep growing.
That's right. We have one here in Durham. I'm happy to say, and I've spoken to a number of the other incubators as well. So it is a fantastic movement. I think it's for a lawyer, it's really important work that you're doing there, helping other lawyers and helping them focus on increasing access to justice. So really appreciate your effort there. Jessica, I'm going to share JEP's website with our viewers on the screen here. That's jepchicago.community.lawyer is the best way, I think, for folks to find you. And it's a consumer-oriented website, actually, for folks in the Chicago area looking for legal services. So just want to encourage folks in that area to check out jepchicago.community.lawyer. Where else can people find you online?
Find me. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Instagram. If you look me up, and I'm at the Chicago Bar Foundation. So I would say those 3 places.
Fantastic. Jessica, thank you so much for your partnership, for the work that you do, supporting lawyers and increasing access to justice. We will have you on again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. All right.
Fantastic. Well, Deborah, what is our quiz for today? And do you have an answer to the last one?
I have an answer to the last one. The question was, Tori was sued by Big Bad Bank for failing to pay a credit card debt. Tori responded to the complaint with a motion to dismiss. She won. The case was dismissed without prejudice. Should Tory assume the case is over? The answer, no. When a case is dismissed without prejudice, the plaintiff can amend the complaint and refile. So Tory should not rest on her laurels. She should go ahead and get ready to fight back. Because typically a bank would come back after her.
Yep.
Okay, and then so today's quiz. In the law, a breach occurs when, is it 1, a party does not perform their part of a contract, or 2, one party owes another party damages, 3, a divorce is finalized, or 4, a complaint is filed in a court of record? One of these 4 describes when a breach occurs. All right.
Fantastic. So look forward to seeing the answer to that last one. That is, I don't know the answer to this, so I'm excited to learn that myself. Fantastic.
All right.
And as Jessica mentioned, there are a number of incubators around the country. It is a real movement because there's so many lawyers these days who aren't able to make it as a solo firm. It's really, really difficult work. And I love her spin on entrepreneurial aspects of standing up a law practice, a solo law practice. When you're just out of law school or you've left a big law firm, you don't really have the chops to build your own business around a law profession. And so a law practice rather. And so really excited to know that folks like Jessica are helping more of these lawyers, do a better job and serve the community, particularly middle-class folks who need legal services as much as anyone and can't afford those billable hours. So just excited to see that movement grow.
Exactly. Just the work that she's doing, it kind of interweaves with ours,
Well, we are partners for that reason. That's exactly
really
right.
well.
That's right. That's right. We're working with a number of incubators in just that way. So exciting. On to the future. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in and spending time with us. We will see you again very soon.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.